to the bathroom. Hold on. And I got them. They changed all of this. Live chat. Okay, so hopefully we good. I'm going to give it about 5 minutes. Hopefully anybody came, they will know I'm here. And we'll get into the subject. I didn't even remember what I wrote. I know keeping it real. And what else? Oh, I think it was like making choices. Something like that. We'll get into it. I can't remember. Sometimes I'm getting old, y'all. I can't remember some things. I hope everybody's good. Hey, Tanya, what's up, baby? How you doing? How's the weather? Baltimore, Maryland. How's Maryland weather? And how was your fourth? And can you hear me? Can you hear me? Let me lower that a bit. I'm in my t-shirt. Um, Job is better. I got a different supervisor. Okay, what's your temperature? Because yesterday, well, we've been rocking probably anywhere from, and it's not unusual. I think no, let me say that. She said, okay, it rains. It made it even worse. Because the humidity in Maryland, girl, bye. If it's humidity. Here we had I think we had like a brief little rain, sprinkle, nothing big. We had, and everything we're experiencing is not good because we've been in a drought, in this area of the country. Yeah, yeah. And then I don't know, do you guys have AC? Do you have AC in your house? Because I know sometimes it used to be that certain areas of the country normally didn't have like a hot summer. So some places don't have AC. They just opened their windows and had fans on the East Coast. And I'm like, ooh, here in Arizona, we without an AC, we be in hell. Well, we have something called swamp coolers, and swamp coolers work really good if it's not humid. But once it gets humid, swamp coolers are horrible because you feel like you're sticking to yourself and it's hot and it's not doing, because all a swamp cooler is blowing water on some pads and blowing it out to cool off everything. I gotta call my. Okay, okay, you do. Okay. Yeah, because here we have ACs now. My grandfather, that's what he did. He normally installed the swamp coolers and did duct work because of the time frame. And I don't know if technology was around to where they had ACs when he first started. I think it was swamp cooler was probably the closest thing you could get to a cooling unit. And so he made, grips off of doing that for most of the Black and Latino community here in Arizona. But we now have the AC, but now you're paying them big electric bills. Because in the summer months, when I first moved in here, my summer bill with the AC was about $75. But now with inflation and everything, I'm paying almost double or triple that amount, um, which is a pain in the butt. But that's what the facts of it is. Um, because everything's gone up so significant. But right now, say we've been ranging between about 111 and 115. And the hottest it's ever been here in Arizona was like 120, 121. Matter of fact, when the first 120, 21 since I've been alive that happened was on my birthday back. Let's say that was sometime in the 80s. Oh, so I was just on the line with Trucker Linky. I told her, I said, I don't understand. I mean, I'd have to be very poor, and don't get me wrong, I ain't wealthy, but I have to be extremely poor to where I'd be sitting up in some place sweating. I used to buy. You go to people's houses. This might be part of the subject. And I remember I went to like some church get-togethers and Bible studies, and we went to this one house, and a lady's buying her little condo. But you walked in there, it was like 150 degrees in the house, because it was you trying to save money because you're trying to buy a little condo. I I just got to say this. I'd rather pay, $500 a month and live in a little grungy place and be able to stay cool. But I understand a lot of people buy things, and we're gonna get that's part of this conversation today. In order, it goes back to a trucker, and I can't remember his name. I think his real name is it Jason? I think it's Jason. I can't remember. It starts with a J, and he's on my Facebook, but he was a popular trucker back in the day, and he was being interviewed by another trucker. He worked for Prime. They both worked for Prime, And he said most people buy their cars for the people. A lot of people do what they do for the people to show off, and it's and I think we've all done a little bit of that at certain points, but there's a point where maturity should kick in, and it don't make sense, especially after a certain age. And it kind of goes back to the no fool like an old fool. That's what it kind of go back to. But I'm like, I'm not gonna be sitting in the house and be uncomfortable. I can't be up in here sweating. It just doesn't make sense to me. Jay, what's up, my brother? Oh man, bro, I wish. I didn't make no money in trucking. I became a broke in trucking. That's what trucking did for me. I became more poor. I didn't make no whole bunch of money. Yeah, the sweating thing is not my thing. I can't tell you. I can't sweat. How you doing, Jay? Where you at in the country, bro? Um, Job wise, I liked the job itself initially. Is Jay our trucker son? No, that's a different Jay. I haven't seen him lately either. I need to go check on him. The other trucker Jay, I don't think this is a different Jay. Um, but my other trucker Jay, you're not going under a different name, are you? I think that's a different Jay, cause he's come on a couple times. He's J250cc's come on a couple times. He came with the 300,000. I wish I had 300,000. I'd probably buy some land and put me a tiny home on it. Um, the job though itself, I liked the job initially, Tanya, from when I first started working it. I liked the company. I liked what I understood the job to be. That still stays the same. What happened is when I transitioned out of the training, they put me under a lady who was extremely micromanaging. Oh, okay, Tucson. My aunt was a retired school teacher. Well, she retired, but she taught out there. My uncle was her crazy pervy ex-husband, was a director of Urban League out there years ago. I used to come out when I was a little girl every summer, and we went up to Mount Lemon. So for those of you who aren't, and I'm gonna come back to your thing, Tanya, but my mind, old people mind, y'all gotta shift gears with me. Um, for those of y'all who aren't from Arizona, and I just met a lady from Chicago. I went to get my free birthday dinner at Black Bear Diner, and this lady came in, and she and her grandson sat across from me, a sister. And it was a very long wait. This is the 4th of July weekend, so I guess we shouldn't expect anything different. It was Saturday. And so I was off. So I was off 4th. I've been off since the 4th. I go back Monday and we're in office. So I only go in office once, 1 week a month. So I go in every 3 weeks. I'm home. 1 week a month we go in the office. That may change because I've got some health things that I'm gonna talk to them about. I don't know if that'll affect that or if they'll implement something else. I've never had to do a work accommodation, which I'll get into in a little bit, but I'm gonna have to do it based on some things that this company has done. And we'll talk about that in a minute. But I used to go out there to Tucson every summer. So me and this lady from Chicago, we were talking about Arizona, and if you've never been here, she said I'd never been to Arizona. She said I felt like the Lord was leading me here. She started talking about the Lord. Y'all know, being Christian, that I knew that I have those situations that happen where I meet people where the Lord is going to have me speak into their life in some way, or use me to speak something to them, or even just pray for them. So it's just I've gotten more comfortable with it now. Before, I used to be like, I don't want to be bothered with their drama. But in reality, I've realized that God puts me in those places, or as the kids say, those spaces, in order to minister who He is as part of being a disciple, okay, and being a part of the Great Commission He gave man. So she starts talking about how the Lord brought her here, so forth, so on, and how initially she's in Chicago, and she said she wanted out. There were a lot of bad things happening. A lot of us know what's going on in Chicago, the crime and everything going on, and all the madness they got going on in Chicago. And so she said, I had a house there. I wanted to get out. And she says, and it was like, I was praying. She said, I knew people in Arizona, I had friends here. And I think a cousin or something like that was here. And she said, and all of a sudden she said, she was trying to move to I forgot what state, like a Texas or somewhere else, some other state. And she said, and I had never been to Phoenix. She said, I had never been here in my life. She said, I knew people who were here, and all she saw, because most people, when they think of Arizona, they think of Phoenix, they think of desert, they think of cactus and dirt, which is not true of us. I mean, it is, and it isn't. So she said, all of a sudden, she said, I went to a movie, Phoenix comes up. She said, I'm doing something, Phoenix comes up. She said, in Phoenix, 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 and then Phoenix, Arizona, Phoenix, Arizona. And she's like, Lord, are you trying to tell me I'm supposed to move to Phoenix, Arizona? And so she said, initially when it started coming up, it was like God was preparing her on what she was supposed to do. So she said, it kept coming up, Phoenix, Arizona, Phoenix, Arizona. And so she said, then, you know, it wasn't immediate, but it kept, she said, it just kept coming. So she said she ended up talking to her friends who were here and, you know, asking questions. Then she's on the phone with her cousin, and I guess he sounds like he's a Christian dude, and he starts speaking some things to her. She didn't really tell me what he said, but obviously enough to raise it even more that this was where she was being directed, and she didn't understand the why. So she said she ended up talking to her friends, and she said, look, I want to come out for a vacation. Do y'all mind if I come and crash out and see y'all and see what this Phoenix place is like, right? So, and we're having this little talk. We're in the restaurant, literally hurt. And in a way, if I tell you how it all orchestrated, you know there were bigger things involved, right? So I'm sitting at my table. She literally, when I got there was a Latino family that took up 2 tables next to me. The place was packed. Matter of fact, it took almost an hour for me to get my food. And I just breakfast. It's a free breakfast, but I wouldn't do anything. I'm chilling. And not really. I'm on the phone at the time with Trucker Nikki. Me and Nikki just chopping it up. And the man took my order, and Nikki asked questions because she like, you know, it's taking you a long time to get the order. She didn't say that, but she was thinking it. So lo and behold, the Spanish family gets up. They come and clean both tables. So a black lady and a little boy come in, and they sit down. Literally, their table was like barely diagonal of me, almost across from me, but a little diagonal. So I'm waiting, and finally my food comes, and she said, ma'am, have you been waiting here a long time? And then I start telling her, and then she told me and that's how we got in a conversation about Chicago. And I said, yes, a bunch of y'all, because out here in Arizona, we have a lot of people from Chicago that move here, a lot of people from Michigan who move here, a lot of people from where it's cold, they move to Arizona, especially over on the East Coast. They come here. And so she's explaining how she got here, and just, man, the divinity in what she went through, the divine hand. She got here and she's like, yeah, she said, I really enjoyed it. She says, I told my friends, you know, take me around, let's look at some houses. So she said she went and looked at 3 houses, right? She said it wasn't, she said the first one she kind of liked, the second one, she said, but the third one grabbed her. And she said, okay, let me see. If this is you, Lord, I'm going to see. So she applied for it, and not buying it, but renting it. She said before she left, she was approved. So she said, I'm going to probably be moving back. She tells the people. She heads home. Her daughter happens to be a realtor. And she told her daughter, I want this house to sell in, I think she said 30 to 45 days. House sold in 33 days. If y'all don't understand some of the biblical significance of the numbers, I'm not going to get that here, but 3 is very significant. So I'm just sitting there going, and listening. I'm just listening because the Lord's taught me how to listen. I'm a talker, but when I decide to open my mouth to talk, I can talk. So I'm just listening. And I'm listening to all of how God is orchestrating her to get here. And she said, I live down the street from here, blah, blah, blah. And then she just started talking about how the Lord. And then after she got through talking, because there's people, how can I put it? And I've been there. Some people go to church and they listen to sermons, but they don't know word. So they listen to the good points and they hang on to those, like, Lord told me I'm going to be this, this, and this. They're hanging on the word. They're not opening up and finding out that some of what the pastors are teaching is out of context. And it's not even biblically foundational, or it's twisted. So I say, well, I don't say, when you get a chance and you go home, I want you to research about Apostle Paul. I said, pick up your Bible and you're going to go research about how God divinely moved in order to draw him and maneuver him into places. I said, and when God does that, there's purpose in it. I said, or you can even go back Old Testament and look at Moses. I said, or Joseph. And I said, and while they may be in situations and circumstances that may not be the best, when God moves, there's purpose in it normally. So you probably have some things you're supposed to be doing here in Phoenix. I don't know, but her grandson was with her, which I found is interesting because she mentioned her daughter, and there's some issues there. She didn't go in, and that's not my business. But I wondered if that's why grandma had grandson, because we know a lot of times that's when family steps in with grandchildren, especially at grandmothers, is because one of their children's is not acting right. But anyway, so if you haven't been here, one of the things she was sharing was she had the thought process. Arizona was a big desert. And she said, and I got here and she said, this freaking state is gorgeous. It is. And it's weird because sometimes you grow up in something and you're not appreciative of it. Now, being that I got to drive the truck and go all over the US and one province of Canada, there are other states that hands down would whoop our butt in beauty, like to in my eyesight. So like in my eyesight, I love the Pacific Northwest. I love like Oregon, Washington, Northern California. On the East Coast, I think Pennsylvania is absolutely gorgeous. A lot of the East Coasters are very pretty, but as driving the truck, I always like PA because P just was a little more truck friendly than when you got into further east of that. And further east you go, the worse it got. So, um, I just, when we were talking, I was able to talk to her, and the information that she thought, and I think is a lot of what a lot of people think when they come to Arizona, is that we're just dirt and cactus, and we're not. So, to Jay's point about Tucson, Tucson would represent more of our desert area. So when you go to Tucson, you will see more dry, more dirt, more cacti. But when you come into Phoenix, think of Phoenix like going into maybe Southern Cal. We've got, I mean, you could see cactus, but for the most part, we got palm trees, we got grass. It's city. And then and Tucson is also a college town, but it's really more deserty as far as its look. It's a cool city, but it's a desert. It's just straight, it's desert. And then if you go north of Phoenix and you go start going up into the mountains, that's a whole, we got pines, we've got mountains, we've got red rock, we've got little lakes and stuff up there. Even in Tucson, if you go into Mount Lemon, they've got a mountain up there that's, they've got little areas that are green, like obviously mountain pines, all of that trees. So you're going to see that. So Arizona, when you talk about the beauty of this, Arizona is very pretty, and we're surrounded in so Phoenix is known as we call it the valley because it is a valley. We're surrounded by mountains in a valley. I mean, surrounded by mountains in a valley. So the thing about Arizona is that we only normally have to deal with the summer months. It starts getting warm probably in May. So May, June, July, August, and then September, October start cooling us off. So you got maybe 4 months of the year, 5 at worst. Climate change, or what I call global warming that I grew up with, might have a different impact. But you got 4 or 5 months of bad weather, and then the rest, our winters are punk. It's just like you like folks from other states where it got snow and ice. You come here, y'all be in shorts and t-shirts in the winter. We be bundled up at 30. If we're 40 degrees, so we might get as low as usually 35. If we hit 30, I'd be shocked. Maybe 35, and that's rare. Normally, our winters are between 40 and 60 degrees. It's not freezing. It's not like a Chicago. It's not like a New York. It ain't like a Colorado. And so you have all those months of the year in which you're not down in this valley for the most part dealing with snow. dealing with ice. You're not. I mean, recently, due to some of the climate things that have happened, we've had areas that have gotten snow in the valley, but it ain't there long. It's there for a hot minute and it's melted. Um, and it's still, even with that, it's still nothing like getting out. I've been in Chicago. Like I said, when I came up there, I used to go to Edwardsville. I can't remember. I've been up in the Illinois area. I've been through Chicago area. I forgot the city. There's a city there, and it's outskirts of the Chicago, Illinois area. It's called something else. They've got a TA there that's across from a Costco, DC, and then there's a Walmart on the other side of the freeway. I can see it in my head, but I can't remember the name of it. But anyway, and I can't remember, but it's right there, and it's right off freeway. Anyway, I remember getting out the truck the first time I went out there, and I couldn't feel my feet, my hands, or my face. And that was Illinois, and I was just outside of Chicago. I was like, what in the Sam Double L hockey sticks is this? I'd never experienced that kind of cold. Well, I lie. Nebraska. I've been in -4. I never have been in. So again, here I am, an Arizona person. Trucking gave me every possible climate, every possible condition. I had never actually even been in snow until I went into trucking. And actually, when I trained with my first trainer from Swift, not the first trainer, but the one from Swift, we ended up in the snow here in Arizona, up in Flag, and we had to chain a truck. I never. And that actually told me, once I found out how dangerous chaining was, that told me I would never chain a truck. Because we came back to that truck drenched from putting in those chains on that truck. We were both soaking wet. Um, and we not chained. You not chained just to, I just say, I don't understand. The whole purpose of chaining is stupid. Because you can't go that fast. You want like barely, 5 miles an hour? It's obnoxious. It's horrible. So yeah. But Arizona, it's a beautiful state. It gives you every various possible. If you want to go hunting, you can go up north. You want to go fishing, you can go up north. Even down here, we've got some places you can go fishing down here in the valley. Some people go to the canals. Some people go certain parks. I think we got some lakes. So yeah, Arizona. And actually, Linda, my friend Linda's so funny. So she has a fear of driving over water. Canals. I'm like, what the hell is that? That's weird to me. But she can go sit on the big beach in San Diego. I'm like, sister, that don't make no sense. It's just a conundrum. You see how big that body of water is on that beach? And you talking about a little man-made connection, and it freaks her out. So, I don't know, that baby. We have something out here called Tempe Town Lake. So Tempe is, when I say it's my home city, I grew up part of my life there, but I was born in Tempe. Why, I do not know. I was born at a hospital called Tempe St. Luke's. I graduated from the high school right next door. And I don't know, I'm assuming maybe my aunt was in high school and my mama went into labor and they were going to pick her up. I don't know. It's never made sense to me why I wasn't born in Phoenix, which I'm okay with because I like Tempe, because Tempe is our most diverse city here in Arizona due to ASU. But I'm just like, why was I born? It never made sense. And because my mom was so weird, I never got in that conversation. But Arizona is very, very pretty. And Tempe, they have put in something called Tempe Town Lake. And it's like, well, it's man-made. I was like, well, yes and no. I said, you do realize it's going through the Salt River. So the Salt River is actually a river bottom that runs the length of the valley. And it goes from east to west. I don't know where she's thinking. And the only reason it doesn't have water in it overall is because we have the dam. And they dam that water up that should flow through the salt, okay, here in Phoenix. And we might have a little bit different climate, atmospheric base if they let it flow because of the moisture that would rise up. However, it's blocked off. And what they do in Tempe, though, they decided to use it as a tourist and drawing thing to the city. And so one of the mayors, he actually implemented creating something called Tempe Town Lake. So they revamped some of the parks, they revamped this area in central Tempe or downtown Tempe area, and they went ahead and the area that's supposed to be the salt, they kind of dammed it off to have water that goes from the length of what would be the boundaries of Tempe in the salt. And so they have a little lake where you can take little boats, and they have the guys who practice on the canoes, and I don't know if you can really fish, but they do all that. And then they have park right there in the walking area, and people run by it. There's a whole bunch. So aesthetically, it changed that whole look of Tempe. So Arizona is it's a pretty state overall. It's oh, sorry, I might have lost y'all for a second. I was trying to hit the thing and the whole thing went away. Arizona, it's a pretty state. It really, it's pretty. And then you don't have the weather issues, so it makes sense when we have people. So where Jay is at, it's very deserty. But if you want that, there you go. If you want that, there you go. So you could have desert. You could come in more and have more of a California city with the palm trees. You could have that. If you want to be in a more cooler environment, you could go in the mountains up in Tucson, like Mount Lemon, maybe do cabin or whatever. Or you can go up in the mountains here north of us, going up to like Flagstaff. Another city is Prescott, Jerome. Um, what else do we got up there? We got Cornville, Arizona. I did Prescott. There's other little cities north of us that give you more of the trees and even more greenery and more kind of foresty. You're going to see deer. You're going to see stuff like that up there. So yeah, Arizona, beautiful state. And like I said, we're surrounded by mountains. And that's when the lady got here. She said, I always just thought of this as a big desert. She said, this freaking state is gorgeous. And it is. Arizona's a very pretty state. For me, I didn't realize how pretty this state was until I did trucking. And then when I started seeing it. So like for me, Wyoming, I was like, only people live in Wyoming, people know me better. Because Wyoming to me is just dry and grass. Another one is Kansas. I can't. Kansas is another one. I don't, rolling hills of grassy wheat looking stuff. It was one of those states just get me through it. And Wyoming was my top state just to get me through it because I want to shoot myself. Wyoming was, and it's always freaking windy in Wyoming because I nicknamed it Windy Wyoming going through it. But yeah. Back to the job, to Tanya's question. So initially I liked the company right off the bat. I thought it was a good company. The but benefits, the presentation, the organization, as far as how when we came in, everything was well done. And learning the job was quite a bit. I mean, you're still learning stuff. There's things I would like to see improved. What ended up happening though is, like I said, I went on that woman's team, and the woman was just really micromanaging, obnoxious. I don't know if that was her personality. I don't know if she had a thing out for certain types of folks. I don't know what her issue was. Do I think she's a bad person? I don't know. I don't know her well enough to say she's good or bad. She just was what she was. But then she got a promotion to a different position, and I got a new manager. Now, I don't know if she's managed before, but she's quite intelligent. Her background is in healthcare, and I think she said she had worked in a hospital prior to coming to the company I'm at. And she worked in the injury department for like three years or something like that. Her husband works in our fraud part of the company. And then her parents, I call her State Farm Legacy, her parents retired from the company, right? So I'm just like, um, she she not bad. Um, I like they have a lot of good benefits. Um, I enjoy what I do as a claim specialist. Um, because I'm analytical, so my mind works in that fashion. So I need to analyze. I'm an analytical person, so my mind constantly analyzes. That's not unusual. Um, Trying to think how to put this. my issues, and while I think I know why they did it. So when we came out of our training initially, which is something that does bother me about them, and because I've never had to do a workplace accommodation, which I don't like having to do, because I just have always worked within the system of what you have. But I just recently had to call to what they call the disability group in order to make workplace accommodations. They're sending me paperwork. So I'm diabetic. Even though my diabetes is pretty well controlled, I do have side effects. So if I have to pee, I gotta pee. Otherwise, I'm gonna pee on myself. So when I gotta go, I gotta go. And what I was doing in order to try to work within the confines of this weird rule that they came out with when we came out of training, or as we were in the last portion of our training, they decided to say, "Oh, you guys get to choose your own. Um, you guys get to choose your own. What was it? The word they used? Your own break schedule, and you can break your breaks up any way you want to." And I'm like, okay. I'm like, that's a little different. You can break it up any way you want to. Okay. And I'm thinking, well, that's kind of cool, you know. And if you want to take, so if you wanted to take, you get two 15-minute breaks, that's 30 minutes. So if you wanted to do three 10-minute breaks, you could do that. If you wanted to break it up into 5-minute increments, you could do that. Well, the issue for me is I actually need the 15-minute breaks, and I was okay with it being scheduled. But before they did this, you can take it when you want to, they initially also offered that you had what they call unplanned time. That meant that if you had to take a quick break in between your original breaks to go to the bathroom, you did. You just got up, went to the bathroom, handled what you need to do, and then come back. That's normally, most companies, I may be 6 minutes, if that. Okay, maybe 3 to 6, just depends on what you got to do, right? And depends also how close you are to the bathroom. Now, I walk now on a cane with the knee on my left. It's pretty shot. And I walk with a cane. Um, Whatever happened when I was having the heart problems, I also noticed my equilibrium is off a little bit. So I'm off where I kind of lean towards the right more. Don't know why. So that and the knee, those two things. So I'm not walking as fast because I'm fat as hell. So I'm not walking as fast. The knee is jacked up and my lower back is really jacked up. We're gonna be working on some things here in the very near future. Um, they did an X-ray of the back. There's no issue with the back, but I'm thinking it has to do either with my what do you call it, sciatica? It might be that. Um, Checking on some other stuff, but we'll check on all of that. And then the knee is just shot. And my left leg this leg has been through a lot. This is where the fractures happen in the ankle. This is where all my blood clots have been. It's been, the left leg has been through a lot. I have really bad edema in this leg, so it's been through a lot. So I had to call the disability line the other day. They're gonna send the paperwork. I did it Friday when I was off because I was like, okay, I need to get this done because we're in office. And in office, if I have to go to the bathroom, get up, have to walk to the bathroom behind me. But the problem is they want you to, the other chick that I had, the micromanager, oh, well, you can just make 5, 5, 5, 5, 5. Ma'am, that doesn't work. Because for you, maybe you're in good shape and maybe you don't have to do this, but if I have to check my diabetes, if I have to do a pin prick, check, machine, all of that, plus pee, plus I'm on the cane, by the time I go to the bathroom and come out, 15 minutes is gone. And then I'm kind of hobbling trying to get back over here before that 15 minutes is done. Okay. In between, I had stopped trying to drink as much liquid because if you get up and go to the bathroom outside of these breaks and breaking it down and all this weirdness they want you to do now, because they don't want to give you any unplanned time just to do a quick bathroom run, which I still feel that's extremely inhumane. If you don't get that bathroom time, then if you use it, it then can penalize you and could put you into attendance issues. Like I said, I understand probably why they did it, but it's inhumane. And if you have people that were abusing, which is what I'm presuming is why they did this, the unplanned time, then you need to deal with the abuse. Don't penalize everyone because of abuse that some people did. And I can already kind of get a figure that they had some of them kids up in there who were working the system, because that is a lot of what you do see, God forbid, in a new generation of humans. And the kids, they're very entitled. They're going to do it their way, and they will work a system their way, and they feel justified to do so. So I get that probably they looked at it and they looked at probably the cost of all the unplanned breaks that they had, of people not working and doing what they're doing. Plus, they're also looking at productivity. I get it. So they probably came up with this very bizarre, and again, this is the first, I've never had a company do this. I thought that was one of the turnoffs initially. And I was like, wait a minute, what do you mean? And it's not every department. There's only, I guess, some departments have adopted this. Because my other friend who's in a different department, who got there before me, she said, what'd you say? Tanya, so when we started, I started October 30th, right? And when we were in there, they're like, hey, when we were in training, if you guys got to go to the bathroom, just put a coffee cup up, even though we haven't taken our break, like on the, because it's virtual. And so we put a little coffee cup, run, come back. And I'm not one who abuses. If I got to go, I got to go. But I'm also wondering, because my back problems really got bad, because it could be tied to kidneys, liver, whatever it is that's in the back. Kidneys back there. I stopped drinking a lot of liquid while I sit at the desk so that I wouldn't. Yes, that's who I contacted Friday. Tanya, I contacted the ADA Friday. The new lady I have was really good, because I actually, there's a whole bunch. I got to work, and so the building we're in, when I got to work, I didn't have the handicap sticker initially. I do now. I have a handicap placard. And I didn't have that even with my knee. Well, I've been really depressed because I lost my main doctor I had for over, man, I've had that lady since 2000 and, when did I get her? 2012, and she just retired. So I was really depressed about this, and I was like, I gotta find a new doctor. So I'm still going to the same, I'm gonna say clinic, whatever. I still go to the same medical facility that she was at. So right now, the person I'm seeing is the PA, which he was really cool. I enjoyed him. I don't know if I'm necessarily staying with him, but I had to go in because I was like, my knee is bad. I need to get a handicap placard. I needed to get re-up on medicine, so I'm gonna have to go in here and deal with these folks. So I went in and talked to him, and he was nice, but it was not her. And I know trying to find a new doctor is not the easiest, right? Um, I I presume, and again, I haven't been there long enough to know the culture and well, some of it I picked up on the culture and the dynamics. There is a good mix. So one thing I do give them, they do hire from all age ranges, but you do have a lot of young people there, and there is a different mindset in a lot of people 40 and under, especially 35 and under. There is a level of entitlement that I'm going to do it my way. So even in my training class where they were like, oh, everybody should be on camera, we had people who, the young folks, they still push the envelopes. Just, it was this blatant middle finger. It was so, and I was just like, because I've done the trucking for 6 years and I had been out of the corporate arena, but as you're coming back and you're seeing like this blatant butthole behavior. I got the placard just where anytime I go handicap, I got the placard. Thank you, Jay. I got the placard anytime I park. I got, it doesn't matter whether I'm a grocery store, whatever. I finally have a placard because, like I said, my knee is done. I'm on a cane. Pretty much, even just taking the trash out. My cane comes with me. I drag the trash out and put it in there, and I feel off on my equilibrium. Um, So and the knee, whew, my knee and my lower back. Sometimes I hold my breath. Sometimes my lower back is so jacked up, um, because of the pain, and and obviously probably some of it is going to, but there's probably a good chunk of it that's weight, which I'm looking at Ozempic. So I'm be honest, I'm looking, depending on what the cost is going to be. When I go back to see him, I've been praying. and thinking about Ozempic and doing my research because it was something he put on the table. And I'm not feeling the surgery based on some other health issues that doesn't matter whether I'm fat or skinny. My biggest health issue is my blood clot disorder, and it doesn't matter whether I'm skinny or I'm fat. That is just what it is because I was not this big when I first my blood clotting disorder is hereditary. So that is huge for me. And to go under a knife, I have to come off of the blood thinner, which makes me susceptible to clots, which then I got to go through a whole bunch of drama coming off that, a whole bunch of drama coming back on that once I'm out of a surgery. So do I really want to go through that with a bypass or a sleeve? And then I have friends of mine who have, and family members who have gotten it and they're eating their way around it. Um, so to me, it's still a temporary tool, whether it's the main one. And the way they do a bunch of 5,000 little meals and they're putting the weight right back on. Maybe not as big as what they were, but they've gained the weight back. And I have a couple different folks I know who are like that. Um, who else? So Ozempic is where I'm leaning. I've got a little more research. I'm going to be seeing him in probably, God willing, in another month, and then we're going to probably make the decision. And if my insurance picks up the cost, then I'm gonna go that route. Anyway, the company, when we were in training, the last part of where we were starting to bridge into the live environment, oh, you guys, we're going to implement something new. And, obviously companies try to rah-rah and make it seem big, but I hate to say, I hate to say this, but you almost need to say, okay, what's the catch? And that's exactly what this was. It was a what's the catch? I was hoping it wasn't that, but that's exactly what they did. So you guys no longer have to have to go on the schedule. We're going to get rid of the scheduled breaks. You take your 250, you can take that 30-minute break however you want. But there's rules around when you can take it. There's rules like if you're like in your last hour of your shift, you can't take it. So let's say you got stuck on a call or a claim and you had to finish it up and it took you into the last, you can't take that 15-minute break or any part of it. So if it goes, because you're at the end. So, and you can't take it at the end of your shift because that's the other thing. And I get why they said it. They don't want people to wait and then leave 30 minutes early. I get it. I get it because again, you're not dealing with, people are just sketch. Folks are sketch. And having any kind of work ethic and work decency, a lot of people don't have. So these companies are becoming kind of gangster with it. And so they like, hey, are kind of slavery type mentality with it. So I get that rule. But then it's like, oh, and by the way, you no longer can take unplanned. So if I schedule the two standard 15-minute breaks, I say, okay, I'm going to take a 15-minute here and a 15-minute here because I want the 15-minute breaks. I need them for a couple different reasons. When I go to the bathroom, I'm on a cane, takes me a minute to get there, takes me a minute, I got to tinkle. If I have to do blood sugar check, by the time I do all of that, 15 minutes is up. Matter of fact, it might not even really be enough. And I'm boom, 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 boom. And then I'm waddling back to my desk, getting back in, all of that. So two 15-minute breaks, that worked for me. Well, now, on top of that, if I have to tinkle outside of those two 15-minute breaks, you're now telling me I'm penalized for anything outside of that two 15-minute breaks if I still go with a standard mindset of two 15-minute breaks. I don't want to break it into 5, 10, 15, because also if you go over those, then guess what? After a while, you've gone over that also as an attendance issue. So it's too sketch. And like I said, I get some of why I think they came up with that, but I feel it's inhumane to people who, hey, Wendy, what's up? How's weather in Colorado? I feel it's inhumane to people who they're not, you gotta go. And it was funny because I talked to another girl who was part of she's on a different management team altogether. And and she said, yeah, a lot of the older women, and she's one of the ones that don't want to get old. And she's just a few years younger than me. A lot of older women were upset about this. Oh, that's good. Look, you can send some cool this way. We'll take it. We need some coal. It's hot as hell. Although that is weird for Colorado, but yeah, at this time of the year. But a lot of people who, you know, a lot of the older women were upset because our bladders aren't the same. Um, I'm real. I right now I do a bladder pad. If I go out, I wear a bladder pad. Because if I don't get to the bathroom in time, I'm leaking. And so this whole thing, I was sitting up there not drinking liquids. I'm peeing teaspoons because my body was not hydrated. And I'm a coffee drinker. I love coffee. And I even stopped trying to do that so much. I talk about it all the time, thinking about it. But and when I told the doctor guy, he like, or the PA, he like, what the hell? He said, what'd you say? I said, yeah. I said, so you're probably going to get something here shortly where I'm going to have them send something so I can get an accommodation, because he just looked at me like astonished. Like, this company does what? And I said, yeah, so you can take two 15-minute breaks, so you can break that up in these little bitty breaks and go to the bathroom. But then that's the other thing. So how do I plan that? Because your body doesn't necessarily always plan. And especially as you get older and if you have some underlying health issues, it doesn't plan when you got to go pee. Sometimes it don't plan when you got to go do a number two. So I didn't like it. That was a huge turn off. And then when I was under the micromanaging lady, I was getting ready to bounce. I was like, that lady was so on my nerves. I'm like, ooh, what? It's almost like I said, I felt like I was in schizophrenic bipolar land. I'm like, sister, what is your problem? And it's not to say, if I wasn't meeting to speak, there's a way to coach to people, snapping your fingers and doing this and being just overly, like, she was just like weird. You've been on that call too long. What the hell is wrong with you? There's a way to do that differently. You can train people and say, okay, so we need to look at your times. This is where I'm seeing where the issue is. Let's go ahead and address how to best handle this. There's a way to do it instead of this right here. And just she was just really weird. And they put her as she's over like the new interns coming in from different, I guess, high schools or colleges, as part of their intern. And I told her, I said, that's a good fit for you. You want to keep me, y'all. You on there with them kids. you kids, all that energy you got, and she's only a few years younger than me. All that energy you got, you can go over there, and all whatever that is, or where you need some Redlin. I think Redlin is that drug that makes it slow down. You go over there. I really would have liked my aunt and some of my family members who are in education. I would have liked them to assess her, because I have a feeling she's ADHD or ADD or whatever it is, where they high strung. I know, and I know, because that also plays a major factor with the diabetes. So that's where he was like, when I was telling the PA, he's like, oh no. I was like, yeah. I said, so you're probably going to be getting something, right? You're probably going to be getting something from, I'm going to put in for accommodation. So when I talked to them last time, so I'm gonna send a reminder to him. The paperwork is coming. And now I'm just, I've started drinking some liquids, but I wasn't drinking liquids. And then all of a sudden I'd be going to the bathroom and I was barely peeing teaspoons, which isn't good for the sugar. Oh, yeah, this guy, he, like, when I went in, and I gave him the paperwork I said I need to get a handicap sticker. I thought they were just going to give me the temporary handicap placard. No, he gave me what's called a permanent one. So for as long as I'm driving a vehicle, I have a handicap placard. I could probably even request the plates. For now, I just have the placard, which is fine. And when I would get to work, that was the other issue. So they have increased the handicap spots. We would get there and they only had a few handicap spots, but they had 5,000 reserve spots that nobody was parking in. I'm like, what in the hell? So then I'm parking on a different floor. I'm having to walk through another business, walk across the parking lot, or the parking lot, the sometimes the parking lot, but walk across the parking area to get to my building, or the driving area to get to my building, then go up. Then if I got lunch, because I didn't want them to boot my car because I'm parked somewhere I'm not supposed to park, to get myself as close as I can, I then would have to walk all the way back across, go up, get my car, move it, to go down to the level I'm supposed to be parked at, hoping that half the, some folks would leave, puts me closer to the elevator. It was jacked. And so one time my knee was, I was down for like 2 days. My knee, I mean, I came to work, but I had to do it from home, and I was supposed to be in office. And my knee, I was getting out of bed holding the walls in pain. My knee was so jacked from doing that weird walk and back. And I mean, I can move around, but I'm slow. And if I'm hustling, obviously you're putting more drama on the knee, and I'm not there yet. So, and it's probably, the knee is most likely going to need surgery. But I'm too big right now for a knee replacement or whatever surgery they have to do. Which is why another reason we're looking at the Ozempic. So, like I said, the company as a whole, they got some excellent benefits. The history of the company is superb. Um, they've been around a long time. I have a pension and a 401k. You can't beat that. They have a credit union. Um, the pay is pretty good. I'm licensed and they pay for it. I mean, like I said, everything else I like. And the job, because it is an analytical job, right up my alley. In a sense, because you're making decisions, you're looking at facts of loss, and then I make a liability decision. And then there's steps that I take. I'm very much on analyzing things, so that is a winner. So it definitely satisfies some of who I am mentally. I tell people my brain is quirky, and then when I say quirky, it's because I analyze things. And what I've noticed, and maybe that's, and I call it quirky because most of the people I meet don't analyze stuff. They just do some weird, be like, bro, did you not think about that? Do you not weigh it out? Because I listen, some of my friends, I be like this, what the hell's wrong with you? Because they don't analyze anything. They just react or do stuff without really truly analyzing the situation. And I mean, we all have done that, but there's just some things people do. I'm like, bruh, because it don't, didn't you think about this? Me, I look at situations and I think, and especially in a corporate environment, I'm analyzing every move. Everything I'm doing is analytical. So for me, it's kind of quirky, and I ask questions. Some people just follow along and they don't ask questions to understand what the hell they're doing or why they're doing, or if it's it's one of those, like, hello, Enron would be a great example. Imagine the number of people that worked and did all the shady stuff they did and never asked a question. Excellent benefits. Benefits are excellent. The pay is decent, but the new lady I got, I do enjoy her. So she's part of the legacy, meaning her parents retired from the company. And then and they remind me of a Motorola. So Motorola does that. There's other companies where they hired a lot of family and or friends, and you came into the company and they hired you. And they had a legacy that was left of people, and it just handed down to the next people, and they brought a lot of family members in. This company does very much similar from what I can tell. And I think there's a plus in that if you're instilling the right kind of values in the person that's your family member. Nowadays, it could be questionable. But the young lady that I do have now, upon first meeting, and again, I don't know the trust, not trust. For me, it's not about that. She does her job. I honor that. I honor her position. That's a God-given thing. I'm going to honor the position unless you're weird like the other lady. But even the other lady, I was honorable to her position, even though she was nerve-wracking and almost had me do this to the company because I was about to bounce. I have another friend of mine at a totally different insurance company doing something similar. And she's also claims a little bit different than mine, but same claims as well. I almost did this because she was asking me, she's like, if you don't like it there, they're getting ready to bring in another group of people. Come on. Um, Yeah, but sometimes, right now, you got a generation of people who are about title and prestige, and they may not. So, a lot of companies they don't hire. I'm noticing they put people in there who want it, but who may not be skilled for it. So, especially you got a lot of the new generation that they're caught up in titles and prestige, but they have zero skill set to do the job. And also, though, and I've only worked for one company that ever, well, Chase might have been this too, but Schwab was very much his company. There was a level of humility that I saw in the Schwab management, not all, but in quite a few, where if they saw gifting in you, they would groom you and then they would move you up and they would have those open conversations with you. And there was not an intimidation factor that you might supersede the person who saw it. Well, now in the world today, I want to be the top of the top. So this self gratification and I want to be the biggest and I don't want you to supersede me. And that's not only, I mean, I've had that happen in other companies. And if you are someone I'm nervous about superseding me, I'm going to do ways to cut your throat, backstab you, or get it to where you're going to either leave or be out of here, right? So you see that a lot more where there's an intimidation factor of intelligence and skill set. So a lot of companies, you can have people that come in with the skills, but you'd rather the person who would put the straw up your butt and suck the poo poo out because that makes you feel good and you're the boss and you're stroking their egos. Not my thing. So right now where I used to was I liked management because I like to groom. I've worked for very few companies that have really allowed me to do that. So now it's like I'm good. Y'all don't have to put me in management. Put me somewhere in a corner where I can do my job and leave me alone and put the checking account. Because at this age now, I'm tired. I just want to go in, do my job, and come home. I don't want a bunch of the game. So this young girl, she is from, and I call her young because she's a lot younger than me. She's from a different area and got the management position. I don't know if she did management outside the company, but she did not come from management within. So this is her managerial role. I don't know if this is her first role or not. Um, I like her coaching style. She's not abrupt. She's not aggressive. Now, what she is wanting, which I don't know if it's going to work for the type of department this is, she wants more of the customer service piece, which is what we were told. But based on the time frames in which we're supposed to handle a claim on a call, so our department is like they have a special name. We're just I'm call it the ultra fast group. We supposed to do all these little steps and then make a decision and help the person get their car repaired. Yada yada yada. Well, we have 12 minutes on any call that comes in. You handle that call within 12 minutes. They give us 6 minutes for what they call wrap idle, which I don't think that's bad. Um, but then they're incorporating if you have to make outbound calls, which that doesn't make sense. We won't even go into that right now. But overall, I enjoy the job. I mean, I enjoy the job itself because it works with someone whose mind is like mine, very analytical. I analyze the facts of loss, I analyze the situation, and then I have to put things in order, boom, and then I can move on. This girl is bringing more of wanting us to do the customer service piece, where the other chick, she was like, you don't need to do this, you don't need to do that. And you know what? You don't even need to announce the call. Just transfer to the other department. We don't do charity work for other departments. This lady was I laugh now, but it was like, what the hell is wrong with you? Whereas this girl is like, yeah, no, we want to announce a call. However, now that I'm transferring to try to announce, a lot of the departments we're transferring to the people, they'll never answer their phones. So going back to just transferring them over makes more sense because you're wasting your time waiting and then it's a waste of time. Just transfer it. I see why from that perspective, but the way the other chick was saying, I was like, this is crazy as hell. So other than that, I mean, I like it. And like I said, the other lady had me. I was getting ready to do this. I was getting ready to do the peace sign. Right now, I'm working for the accommodations for the bathroom, maybe even the parking situation. They have given more handicap parking, so the last couple of times I have been able to get something near the door and the elevators, opposed to having to park in another company's parking area and then go through the whole walking across and drama and then go and move the car. I don't have to do all that now. So the last couple of times when I was there, that was the plus, and I had the handicap. So they increased the number of handicap. Y'all forgive me. Handicap stuff. Allergies are going. they increased the number of handicap um, spots, which, like I said, that was so necessary, and I'm happy they did it. So that has helped. Like I said, my main thing right now is bathroom, and I'm not somebody abusing it. I'm gonna go pee and come back, but if, and it's not that I need it all the time, but if you need to go to the bathroom, I don't want to sit there and be drinking, like, barely any water. Um, I was even not really eating anything other than, and granted I'm fat, but eat a little bit because I don't want to have to go to the bathroom because I don't want you bothering me about attendance. But I'm 56 years old. I've had a hysterectomy. I'm on a freaking diabetic. We go to potty, and that with all of those, my bladder don't hold like it used to. My friend who had a hysterectomy, she said, Shannon, part of your bladder not holding is age and the hysterectomy, right, and the diabetes. Those two things, you will go, because I'm taking a medicine which is meant to stable out my sugars, which is metformin. Well, when you're drinking liquid, you're going to pee. I also take two blood pressure medicines, one with the water back on it. So that means I'm supposed to pee. And I'm sitting up here trying to sip, take a little bit of water and sip just so I don't go pee, because I don't want to be penalized for going to the bathroom. So I've never had to do a bathroom accommodation at a company. It's just crazy. We work from home, so the way it works is you work from home 3 weeks a month and then 1 week in office. So this week coming up, I'm in office. Um, that could be part of the workplace accommodation to work home as well. I don't know if that's something they'll give me. That would be preferable. Uh, but even still, I may need a bathroom break. And right now, we don't have where I can take an unplanned bathroom break. And no breaking it into 10, 10, 10 or 5, 5. That's, yeah, no. I need 2 15 minutes. But like I said, by the time I hobble to the bathroom, if I have to do my blood sugar, as a matter of fact, I got a call because I'm supposed to have a new diabetic monitor coming. I got the new Lancets, but they had ordered the monitor and I ain't heard nothing from them. So I got to call CVS and find out what the hell's going on with that. Um, yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot. So we'll see. I'll see. And I'm like this. God will work it out. Where I'm at right now, I think I'm supposed to be there. Otherwise, the other place would have opened up. And right now, I just there's some things my friend told me. I'm like, I don't want to go from one fire into another. Um, like I said, benefit wise, their benefits are bomb. Their benefits are really good. And at this age, you want good benefits and good health care. So they've got Blue Cross Blue Shield is a major insurance company, which I like BCBS. I am in a class action for BCBS. So I don't know if some of you might be in it because a lot of people are in it. I guess they had some kind of a weird enrollment stuff they did years ago. And they sent me a postcard. This was like, postcard's been over a couple years ago. And so I'm waiting for the settlement part. I think they did do the settlement, but then somebody did some sort of, I want to challenge something about it. So that put the payout on hold. And then the mortgage company I had, when I had my mortgage, it was one of them crazy adjustable rate mortgages during the housing market. They just closed out a class action suit. So I got to register for that too, because Joe told me about it because we were in the same company. And it was weird. I've been going through my bins and boxes, and I just came across my mortgage paperwork from 2006 with their name on it and the account number. So I'm going to contact the class action company and make sure my name is in there. I don't know, it might be $5, but $5 more than I had yesterday. So those are the two things that I'm doing right now. Anyway, what was my subject? Y'all, we're going an hour in. Let me kind of yeah, it is. They don't have any more, Tanya. They don't have the work ethic anymore. So I was going to talk on the subject. I'm going to throw this on the table. And it's just, I had a really good conversation this weekend with one of my play kids. And both of us came up in very abusive, well, yeah, she came up in a type of abusive situation, a little bit different from mine, but both of us suffered sexual abuse traumas, but also physical abuse traumas. And we had a really good conversation. And so she has hit her 40s. So she'd be old enough to be my daughter if I had a daughter. and really just has had a really unique life, but just a go getter and really turned her life around. So she's like, I think I'm at a point, because I had told her, I said there were some things I had seen, and I had done counseling in my teen years because of the abuses that I happened with my mother. And I was at my high school. My social worker sent me over. City of Tempe offered free counseling, and so I think I did a couple of sessions, and I was going through a lot, but she also had been through things, and she's talking about, you know, she has a concern on going back to counseling because she had some childhood counselors that weren't good, and she had further abuses because things that this counselor did. Okay, so so she has a apprehension against counselors. And then when she had other life situations happen and she had to deal with counselors again, some of the advice that they gave wasn't good. So I'm going to say this as best I can because it's something I've thought about because of some of my traumas, is actually sitting down with someone professional, but this stage, late in stage and age. How I got to where I'm at now, I just didn't have the money for it. But really, I said the Holy Spirit of God was kind of counseling me and has given me some insight into me. But then also, it's funny because I did ministry, and people would say, one of my friends who wasn't Christian, he says, you know, you should really become a counselor. Um, because people would just come to me and I can sit, because I'm very, because of the analytical brain, and because of, really, I believe God has peeled back the lenses, and because I am very, and it's part of probably my coping mechanism, I'm very much 100% with myself. Whereas, unless I don't realize it, there are people, when I interact with them, it's like I get the Scooby Doo face, like, huh? Like, how do you not see this going on? And they walk in this weird, blind delusion. And you're sitting there going, uh huh. And when I go, oh, okay, that means that you're really walking in some massive foolishness. So I'm a little more blatant with facts, and I'm real about facts. And so I had told this young lady, I said, you're going to need to go talk to somebody. Because there were things I saw beyond some of the other struggles, but I saw there was a temper issue. And I knew, based on the things that she was sharing, that a lot of this stems from her childhood traumas. Now, some of y'all, it might not be child, maybe it's relationship traumas. There could be 5 million things you've had happen to you that manifest themselves somewhere out in your life. So this young lady was saying, you know, I've had counselors. These are the things that happen. I haven't wanted to go back to counseling because one time they want to put me on these meds, and I felt like a zombie when I was young. And I don't know that her counselor was very good. I'm going to say that. But she didn't really have a say in the situation. Coming from a Christian perspective, coming from a Christian perspective, you really do need to be prayerful, and you need to be discerning, and you need to be wise in your decision if you're going to get a counselor. And to me, interview them. What's your faith background? If you're Christian, what do you believe? What's your faith background? Present some questions to them and find out how they would respond in advice or counseling that individual. To me, if you're going to get a counselor, and I'm not saying go to a counselor who's going to tell you what you want to hear. That's the worst, because they're not helping you. I'm telling you to pick a counselor who is going to be someone who walks in your faith background, one, functions in it, two, that comes with sound wisdom, and three, that's really good in discerning. Okay, because all of those things are necessary to help you become aware of your stuff. And they should also be able to read how to interact with you to get you to wake up and to walk through your healing. So I always say this, some people, when we look from a biblical perspective, Jesus healed right away, but sometimes Jesus had people walk, God has people walk through their healing, walk through their situation, because it keeps them leaning into him. So sometimes what you're going through, you have to learn how to cope with whatever happened to you, how to walk out this life from birth to death or birth to the rapture, and walk it out as best you can with whatever took place. Okay. um but you do need to interview and make sure that who you're getting, not that I need you to tell me what I want you to, what you want me to hear, but I need to make sure that either, if I'm of Christian faith, you're coming with some Christian biblical counseling wisdom. And I'm not talking legalistic. And if you have discernment, you will know how to understand that that's not what you're getting from a counselor, because there's a way to counsel people even if they're not walking in the right way. So I'm going to give an example. And I don't know if it's true or it's false. I just heard this, and I'm a YouTuber, I watch YouTube. So I heard that there was a very popular individual in the Hollywood area, and he went to go get counseling for some issues, and he's married. So the counselor he went to, this lady tells him to write down every woman he wanted to sleep with. And then he was to contact them. Why? So he can sleep with them? He's telling you he has an attraction for women he's not married to. This is not wise. And then she tells him, well, you're just being who you're supposed to be. I'm going to back this up. If I'm telling you I want to kill 5,000 people, and you tell me write down the 5,000 people I want to go kill, and then tell me, oh, you're just being who you want to be, something is wrong with that. Does anybody else see that? So to make that statement at that level is stupid. But there is this new thought process that has permeated society based on lifestyles and people telling you this is what I am, I'm who I'm supposed to be, I'm who I was born to be, and we have justified certain things, that this is how counselors are counseling. And depending on where your faith walk is, that may not be the best move for you. Now, if that's the best move for Sally Sue over here, to tell Sally Sue this is who you're supposed to be and you should go do X, Y, and Z, cool. But if that's not the best move on a faith level for you, you definitely need to interview the counselors. The world can do what they're going to do, because they're going to do what they're going to do. But if you need counseling, you want to make sure that whoever you're dealing with is someone who is in the, I'm going to say, your belief system, and will give you solid, real, 100% counseling, telling you truth in love and in wisdom, not in legalism, because from my faith group, I do know that can happen, but talking to you in love and in love and wisdom, and walking you through it, and hopefully some scriptures that solidify it in context, not out of context. So that's something, when I saw that, when we were talking, it just came to me. And I'm seeing a lot of people, and especially right now, I don't know, after COVID, we had a lot of people with a lot of mental health challenges. COVID, and people consider it good or bad, I think COVID was good, in the sense that people got to be alone with themselves, and they also got to know people they was married to and living with. And all of a sudden you found out, I don't like you. And we really incompatible. I just thought you looked good. I thought you looked good. We got together. We said we married, and then we don't spend no time in the house. So we don't really even know each other. I just got with you because you look good. And there are plenty of people who do that. And then later down the road, they're like, why am I with this person? And COVID brought that into focus. And it was funny because I was watching a lady, and her husband said, we're going to have a lot of births and a lot of divorces. Facts. Facts. Exactly what happened. Exactly what happened. And a lot of people, you're so, because they don't know who they are, and then they get with somebody, don't know who they are, because you're looking at surface level, they look good to you, whatever, or you're just feeling the sexual desire and get with somebody, and then all of a sudden you're married or in a relationship with this person, and that's not who you're supposed to be with. So we need to look a lot deeper when we're dealing with our issues. And the other thing is, be honest with yourself. I sit and I talk to people around me and friends especially, and I'll be sitting up there with the Scooby Doo, Scooby Doo head scrunched up, and just be sitting there going, "Wow, are you really this delusional?" I, they don't see it. They absolutely don't. I'll be sitting back going, "Wow." I can hear things from family conversations to things that they do, and they don't see it. They don't see that. They don't see it. I got a friend of mine right now in love with money. That he counts his money. He looks at his money almost. I'm working on my spreadsheet. I'm working on my spreadsheet 2 or 3 times a week, looking at the money that he got, in not a good way, but looking at the money. But and I'm like, that's your God, bruh. That's your God, to look at money. And that's his thing, you know. Think about money and trying to be prestigious because he didn't have it, and now that he does, that's his thing. It's sad. It's very sad. Um, but there's people who get caught up like that. I don't understand it. I don't. I don't. Um, yeah. I don't. Anywho, trying to think what else I want to talk about. That's pretty much it. Not too much going on right now. Joe and a friend of mine, well, two from, so Joe, Linda, and another friend of ours, and her cousin came to town. And her cousin was really cool. Her cousin is a deaf communication professor at a major university in DC. I got to meet her. I had a really good time. And then her husband works for NPR, which I love NPR. So if you guys don't know NPR, National Public Radio, love NPR. So NPR is, again, my quirky brain. It's a thinker's channel because they're going to talk about different subjects and books. And NPR even they have the tiny desk where they highlight different musical artists. So different ones that you might not hear, sometimes major ones, but they'll highlight them, have them come in and do a live session. So that was always interesting. And then they do books, and they talk on a lot of various different subjects. They've always been a intellectual piece, and we always had them tied to our jazz channel out here. And our jazz channel we had on the radio, I don't even listen to it now, was 91.5. We had another one called 95.5 KYOT, which was our Quiet Storm Jazz. I love that channel. And I don't know when they went off the air, but they're no longer in play. But I don't really listen to that. I do have NPR on my Sirius. So I do have them on my Sirius satellite radio, which I enjoy. So if y'all have never listened to NPR, I know that tells you I'm really a geek, is that I like NPR, but I do like NPR. So they have different subjects, all sorts of conversations they have, interviews. They used to do book reviews. They would bring artists on for the tiny desk, and you'd have various artists from all different walks of life that would come on there and let them demonstrate their giftings and talents and seeing if it's something you'd like. But yeah, we met with the wife this weekend, and we all went to lunch, and I just had a blessed time. I actually had fun. She didn't know I caught it. And again, my analytical mind, I said, "Hey, blah blah blah, Amy." Her name is Amy. And she went to say something and started signing. And then she put her hands down real quick. And I smiled. So I didn't know what she did until we got to the table because I was first time meeting her. And I was like, okay, so what are you doing? She says, I'm a deaf professor. I said, that's why you got ready to sign at the. She says, I'm so sorry. I said, why do you need to be sorry? That's a gift. It's a blessing. And then, I began to share with her. I said, let me explain something to you. And this is something, and I don't know all the reasons because my mother was strange, right? I was born blind, so I was born without sight. My mother's father paid for my surgery for me to be able to see. And I was born blind as a baby. I do not know, because my mom is special, exactly what my diagnosis was and what type of surgery it was. When they came out and said, "Ma'am, do you want to be in the emergency room, or when the in the operating room? We can make it so you can come in the operating room while we're operating on your daughter." I can't watch you cut on my baby. That chick is weird. God bless. I hope she get it right. Dear God. So, but my grandfather, because I didn't have a father in the sense of anybody who was going to come in there, and he knew my mother couldn't pay for it. And again, my grandfather had his own business. He came in, from what I understood from the story from my mother, and he went to the front desk, and he says, "You guys are doing a surgery on my grandbaby. How much is it?" And the lady told him the amount, and my grandfather said, counted out the money and walked out. Basically, from the way he was as his version of a man is handled, the money gonna pay for it. And it did. I have my eyesight to this day. And I don't know if y'all can see this. Let's see if it's still here. So I have a scar. I can't remember which eye it's over, but right here. That scar right there. I have a scar right here. That is not from the surgery. But I did get beat the hell out over that scar. As a little girl, I'm going, back in the day, they used to have the TV trays, and kids do stupid stuff. And I didn't know about the eye surgery. I didn't know. I'm a kid. Nobody explained nothing. Just got beat the hell for it. And so I'm peeping through the hole with the little plastic clip off of the steel leg, and it was sharp. And I did that. And whoo, after my eye got band-aid, then I got beat to hell. And it was never clear on why I got beat. It's just the stuff. You don't just beat kids and don't give them I didn't know. And I wasn't, like I said, I wasn't the kid where you would have had to do that. You could have just talked to me. But my mother was about beating the hell out of you for everything. So I got beat the hell for that. And that's when I found out that later on from my great aunt on Grumpy's side that I was born without sight, and there was a surgery. And then my mother mentioned it later on. And then very blessed, because most of my life up until I was in my 40s, I had 20/20 vision. My vision was excellent. 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 My hearing was really good too. As one of my friends said, I could hear a rat pissing on cotton. I used to be able to hear conversations all the way across, like almost across the room. It ain't like that now. The age has done its due. It ain't like that now. But I don't know. I don't know if any of you all are dealing with any of those issues as far as taking care of yourself. But whatever you need to do, take care of yourself. One of the things I will give the more current generation, and especially among African Americans, because we weren't people who went and got counseling, is that we're now getting professional counseling. It used to be said in ages above me, and then counseling for white folks, we don't do that, and we don't talk about stuff. Let me explain something to you, and I'm going to say this, and then I got to get off of here because we've been 82 minutes. If you have a wound and you don't clean it, and you put a Band-Aid on it, gangrene, pus, infection, and may all set in. And it's not going to be good for you, for your body, and ultimately it can affect you even to death and losing limbs. Would it not be better to go deal with the area and get it cleaned out, even if it's mental? Go deal with that and have freedom in it and learn how to cope with it or get delivered from it. A lot of times we don't know who we are because a lot of us have not faced it. That's why when I'm looking at people that I know, as I say, folks they operate, their dysfunction becomes function. They learn to operate in dysfunction. And there's a lot of people who are operating in dysfunction, and it has become their normal. And I sit there, I met some people this weekend, or my past birthday weekend, and very sweet people. But in the conversation, I'm like, oh, wait, baby, crazy as a box of rocks. And their abnormal life and childhood They've normalized it. I didn't know initially that what I was living in was abuse until I got out of it. Once I was out of it, and then it took years to unpack the level of abuse. And I'm not talking about the sexual abuse, I knew what that was. I'm talking about the physical abuse and verbal abuse from my mother. I had no clue. So you do need to get through that. So in my conversation this weekend, and I know she's not the only one, whatever you need to do, but interview these folks, because you can't, not every counselor is of the same quality. You get some who are caught up in this weird mindset that everything, that you're just doing, you're just being who you are. So you telling a man who's married it's natural for him to go cheat on his wife and to have affairs with women. It was the most bizarre. But am I shocked by it? Absolutely not. I'm just going, this is crazy as hell. But it's a world we live in. We have truth, and your truth and my truth. There's one truth. And some of y'all don't agree. There's one truth. It's called biblical. There's a biblical truth. And then we always say there's three sides to the story. Your side, my side, and the other person, and the truth. So three sides to the story. Your side, my side, and the truth. There's only one truth. So, but everybody, this is your truth, meaning that you could live in a total delusion and lie, and that's your truth. In a sense, that is a correct statement, because it does become a disillusioned truth, but it ain't the truth. And some people are living in massive insanity. Get freedom. Get freedom. Anyway, y'all, I'm getting ready to get my butt off of here. I got homework to do, and I gotta get ready for tomorrow. Trying to see if I missed anything. Jay, Tanya, I know Wendy says she watching on repeat. Whoever else is watching, enjoy. Guys, if you come and see this later, like, thumbs up, share it out if you can. Peace, joy, happiness. Talk to y'all later. I'm going to be out and get ready to go do some homework. I will see y'all next Saturday. Deuces.